it's John from Up. Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking Wheel of Time Season 3 news. Now I know what you're saying, John. Something's different. Did you change your hair? No. I changed the way the video looks just a little bit. I got a lot of feedback over the last few months, and in fact the last year or so, over how my channel looked a bit dated, how the videos didn't exactly look like one would expect modern YouTube videos to look like. I'm pretty resistant to change, so I resisted it up to this point. But I'm going to try a couple of new things. Let me know if you like the look of this video better than my normal videos. If you enjoy this, keep with this. If you have some other advice on tweaks, maybe I'll take that. And if the resounding masses say absolutely love the old videos better, I will definitely go back to the old style and old look of the videos. But for now, we'll try this and let me know what you think of it down below. So what are we talking about in today's video? Well, we're talking Season 3 news. We're going to talk just a bit about one of the cast members booking another pretty big deal gig. We're going to talk about one of the major costume/prop makers leaving Prague right now, moving back to London. We'll talk a bit about why that's not something to worry about at all. But we're still going to talk about it because it's Wheel Time News. Then we're going to talk just a bit about the Kickstarter that I mentioned a few weeks ago here on the channel, Soundscape of Time. It's sort of an audio accompaniment to the audiobooks. It's 7 days left. It's not quite funded yet, so I want to push that a little bit here in the channel. So near the end of the video, you'll hear me talk a bit more about that. We'll show some clips of one of the chapters and some clips from the creator, Jordan himself. It's a really cool thing, folks. I hope you folks have a chance to back it. I really like showcasing the community's art and community's Wheel of Time projects here on the channel, because we don't have a whole lot of official stuff, and the community stuff really does fill in those gaps, and a lot of it is spectacular, and this certainly fits in that category. So at this point, I normally give a spoiler warning, but there is none for the video. So I just want to say, if you like what you're seeing here, if you enjoy the video, if you enjoy the channel, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell a couple of your friends, spread the word about What Up. We have a while yet before Season 3 drops, so let's see if we can grow the channel just a little bit before then. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about Season 3 because I've seen some things, folks, and it's real cool. You'll see some of that in upcoming leaks videos. Now, we're going to start off here by talking just a bit about a new gig that one of the cast members got on a different show. And that is that Donal Finn will be playing young Moriarty in the Young Sherlock series on Prime Video. Now, this is produced by Guy Ritchie, so it's kind of a big deal. And if you're as old as I am, you probably remember the older Young Sherlock series that was on a very long time ago, and it was really cool. It followed the adventures of a much younger Sherlock. This is going to be sort of in the same vein. It'll be like a murder mystery type thing. The synopsis of the series is that it follows a young Sherlock aged around 19 during his first murder mystery at Oxford University. So Donal Finn is going to be playing the antagonist of the series, young Moriarty, and that's a leading role, and that's a huge deal. So I do want to mention something that this kind of got caught up in a bunch of negative light, and I feel a little bad for that because it's no small part to one of the videos I recently put out. So I recently put out a video that I'd heard from some sources close production that Season 4 probably won't be greenlit until much later than we anticipated, probably not till after the start of Season 3, and probably not until Season 3 exceeds Amazon's expectations, because they weren't super happy with the numbers of Season 2. They weren't upset with them, they just wanted more like Season 1 numbers. So if you want to watch that video, I'm not going to go into all the points I made, but basically the point is this: the show's not canceled, the show is not in trouble, the show will likely be greenlit. It just probably won't be much earlier than we expected. People took that, and thousands of people online were talking about that video, and that's not an exaggeration, while hundreds had watched it. So you folks probably know what that means. That is a super game of telephone, where essentially they took some of the things I said and just kind of got things wrong or exaggerated a bit. Someone else picked up on that, and then just kind of snowballed. And snowballed into this big thing where Season 4 is not going to happen, Wheel of Time is canceled. That is not the case. That is not what I said in the video. And in fact, other content creators have actually come out and made videos about that video because they were like, they didn't understand where this came from. This didn't help because a lot of people were talking about that when this announcement came out. And this announcement came out, people were like, Matt's leaving the show. He's not staying around. He's jumping ship. He's going to work somewhere else. That is not the case, folks. We should be incredibly excited for Donal Finn. I know I am, and you folks should be as well, because this is a big deal. It's a leading role in another Amazon series. So Matt Cawthon, so far in the series, has been a very supporting role. And in fact, if you look at the runtime of Season 2 and Matt Cawthon's time within that runtime, it's very limited. So this is a huge deal. It's a big step up for him to go do a young Moriarty. This does not mean that he's not doing the Wheel of Time anymore. Actors gotta eat. I mean, they don't sign on to a show and they say, this is the only thing I'm doing for the rest of my life. That's not how that works. And most working actors do not make millions of dollars. In fact, I think that's the exception rather than the rule. Most actors make a living wage if they're lucky, and some actors don't even make that. So the fact that Donal Finn won't be working for the next little bit because Wheel of Time Season 3 is done. Finished filming, it's wrapped, and then you're looking at a large gap till they start filming Season 4. He's got to work. He's got to find other jobs. So even if Season 4 was greenlit the day filming wrapped and they knew they were going to start filming it in the fall or in the spring or next summer, he would still have to find work. So would the other cast members, because they have to pay their bills, folks. So this is not a cause for concern. It's a thing to be celebrated. I'm really happy for Donal Finn to be able to jump from that to a leading role in another series. And I certainly will be watching it, not because I'm a Sherlock fan. I do enjoy Sherlock, but mainly because I really, really like Donal Finn's acting. I think he's fantastic, and I want to follow his career from inception right to the very end, or as far as I can get anyway, because I think he's a fantastic actor. Anyway, so that was the news with one of the cast members. Definitely a feather in his cap. That leads us into our next story. Rob Goodwin, one of the leather workers for the show, in fact, made the iconic bolero that Moraine wore during the show. You can see it here, and see Moraine wearing it here, as well as a number of other leather pieces that are on the show. Fantastic craftsmanship. Let's face it, the costuming, just as a whole, the set design, everything about the show is absolutely stunningly beautiful, and this is no exception. He had the great fortune to work in the show the last little bit, and then he released this on Instagram recently. And again, this is another thing that fandom took and ran with, which is why I want to talk about it today. But he says, as my prod Odyssey seems to be nearing its final act, I've been looking back at some of the early work I was fortunate enough to be able to produce here for the Wheel of Time. In 2019, at the very start of Series 1, during a brief pause before a new designer, Isis Musadin, arrived, I decided to create some samples which I had hoped would impress her. One of which was this tooled, beaded leather and hair neckpiece, which was then asked to develop into the blue bolero armor worn by Rosamund Pike as Moraine that I've discussed here before. In the following 5 years, spanning 3 series, I was fortunate to work with some of the most talented, creative, and wonderful humans on the planet. Designers, craftspeople, artists, cutters, supervisors, buyers, actors, producers, drivers, cleaners, you name it. And it was all the amazing people in this incredible city. Now, I don't know what the next adventure will be or where it'll be situated. If any of you lovely costume folk from film, TV, theater, or maybe fashion have any suggestions, then please give me a shout. But whatever it is, I'm looking forward to already. Onwards and upwards. Now, they had posted this just because Season 3 had wrapped filming quite some time ago now. And they're looking basically, this is sort of an ad to get more work. I reached out to them and I talked to them a bit. I will have them here on the channel in a couple of weeks once their move is done. And we'll get to showcase some of their lovely art and craftsmanship, which I'm very excited about. But essentially, this isn't the fact. This should not be cause for alarm, folks. This is, again, people need to work. They need to eat. If you're working on a show where it's seasonal and there's a gap between seasons, there's going to be a gap in your work. You have to find other work, and you want to move to where that work is. You don't want to be far away. So Prague, while Prague is the center of a lot of different TV shows and movie and whatnot, it's not the center of the world when it comes to filming. So people kind of want to move back to where they know and where their families and support systems are and whatnot. And that is kind of what's happening here. So they're making a move because their work on the show is ended for now, and they've gone on to they're going on to other things. Is it a cause for concern? No. It is poor timing with the way the fandom kind of got riled up about a possible gap in between seasons, which is totally normal, by the way, folks. And again, it was just one of those things. Came out at the wrong time, I guess. I reached out to them. They clarified it to me. They said they didn't even know what was going on really in the fandom at that point. They don't follow it that closely. And this was just sort of an ad to looking for more work when they move back. That's all it is. So again, I'm very excited to have them on the channel. They've agreed to come on here in a few weeks' time once their move is done and settled down. We can look at some of the pieces they made for the show. That's going to be super exciting. Because like I said, the show is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful, and there's tons of things that went on with it. A lot of things that happened behind the scenes, and they don't get enough credit for what they do. Let's face it, I think the Emmys really snubbed the show in a lot of different areas this year, but costume development, costuming was one of them that I think really got snubbed. There were people that were nominated, and Wheel of Time was not, that really I'm not saying they shouldn't have been, because everybody works really hard on what they do. I'm a little biased when it comes to Wheel of Time, but the costuming of the Wheel of Time is absolutely gorgeous, and it should have been showcased a little bit more, I think, and given more of a bird's eye view for the whole fandom rather than just seeing it on the show. If that makes any sense at all. All right. And the last piece of news I want to talk about today is this. So, the ultimate Wheel of Time audio accompaniment. I've had Jordan here on the channel before. It's the Soundscape of Time, and he's already created an audio accompaniment for the Lord of the Rings audiobooks. And this tweet comes from Michael, Kramer, and Kate Reading. Now, if you don't know who they are, they're the ones that recorded the original audiobooks for Wheel of Time, and they are endorsing this project. They think it's absolutely amazing. So, like I said, I've had Jordan here before, and he's talked about it on the channel. We've dedicated whole shows to it. But the Kickstarter is live right now, folks. I'll have to link to it down below in the description box if you folks want to contribute to the Kickstarter. There are different tiers, different things you will get by contributing to the Kickstarter. If you don't know what it is, I'm going to play a short clip from Jordan here now, including a sample chapter, so you can have an idea of what's going on. And then we'll get back into why this is important for you folks to back it.
The Wheel of Time audiobooks span over 450 hours. Now imagine if you could have the sound effects, ambience, and music of a film for all 450 of those hours. I'm Jordan Rennells, the creator of the Soundscape of Time, a unique audio journey through the Wheel of Time series. I believe Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time is a story of immense detail, complexity, and beauty, worth experiencing in as immersive a way as possible. That's why I've created the Soundscape of Time, a 3D immersive audio journey through these books. Stick around to the end for a full demonstration, but for now, what is a soundscape? Unlike traditional audiobooks that focus solely on narration, my soundscapes incorporate ambient environments, specific sound effects, and an original score. It starts by creating ambient environments for the many places we visit, like the simple everyday life of Emond's Field. Then you add specific sound effects for each moment. You'll hear the small moments like Pod and Fane pulling into the two rivers. Finally, we add an original score that I'll be writing for each moment along the journey through each book. Themes for Emond's Field, Rand, Egwene, and so many more. Now, the demonstration will come at the end of this video, so stick around. But if you've read the series, then you should be as excited as I am about some of the amazing moments that we'll get to experience. The Soundscape of Time is designed to be listened to on its own, but also with the official, but not included, audiobooks. So you can simply line up the two for a complete movie in your ears experience. Creating such an immersive experience takes a lot of time, and by backing this project, you'll give me the time to make all these details as good and small and minute as they can be. But to kick things off, I'm really excited to announce that The Eye of the World, the Eye collection, is actually already almost done. So shortly after the Kickstarter is finished, you'll have access to that as I work on The Great Hunt, The Dragon Reborn, and The Shadow Rising. Let's do some math. The audiobook for The Eye of the World is 30 hours long. I have 5 steps to my process: designing ambience, creating sound effects, recording Foley, writing the score, and mixing. If I spend a very conservative 3 hours on each of these different elements for every chapter of the audiobook, we're already at 450 hours. And like I said, that's conservative, not counting the research, double-checking, or any of the other small pieces of work that go into this. By backing this project, you're giving me the one thing this series is all about: time. I want to handle each moment with care. Every small movement of Rand's cloak in the wind. How does the sound of Saidin compare to Saidar? What do Trollocs sound like? And so on down the list. It takes a lot of time. I've designed the Kickstarter tiers to be very straightforward. You can back a single collection, your choice of one of the first 4 books. You can back a double collection, your choice of 2 of the first 4 books. You can back a triple collection, your choice of 3 of the first 4 books. And you can back a quad collection, that's all 4 books. You can also be a guest musician and play your part on the score. You can be an executive producer and be part of the big decisions throughout the series. And finally, you can even choose the Soundscape of Time tier, which will give you access to all 15 books, each as they release. You can choose from a few add-ons, be part of my research team, or you can lend your voice to certain moments, be a Trolloc, or be a voice in Kyrian with my voice role tier. Now this isn't the first soundscape that I've completed. I've already done all of the Lord of the Rings, and I've also done the first Harry Potter book, Winnie the Pooh, and The Hedge Knight. You can find all of these as add-ons and dive into many, many hours of listening right away. I'm so excited to continue this journey through the Soundscape of Time and share it all with you guys. Once you back the project, listening is easy. You'll get access through a private podcast feed or downloadable files for seamless syncing with the audiobook. Again, that's not included, but very easily set up. Join me in bringing the Soundscape of Time to life. Together we can create an unparalleled experience for all Wheel of Time fans as we go through this amazing story. Now it's almost time for the demonstration, but I'm sure you're all wondering, what about the other 11 books? Don't worry, I'll be doing those as well. The last thing I want is for the journey to end unfinished. This Kickstarter will have stretch goals. You can find those in the write-up. So the further we get, the more books I can do. I know WalkCon is running right now, so tell all of your friends and help me push this Kickstarter as far as possible and as far past the finish line as we can. I can't do that without the support and all of you sharing and spreading the word. So help me as much as you can and we'll see how far we can go. If you're like me, those moments of payoff in later books will be incredible to get to, but I can't do that without your help. All right, it's time for the demonstration. We're going to listen to the entire Dragon Mount prologue for Eye of the World, and it's going to include Michael Kramer's amazing narration. That'll come and go through different spots. I can't include the whole thing, of course, but if you want, you can combine the audiobook and the soundscape later nice and easily. So grab a pair of headphones, and you won't be able to hear the 3D elements without those headphones, so make sure you have them. Close your eyes and listen, and thank you all so much for your support. And what else can I say, but it's time to toss the dice.
The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. In one age, called the Third Age by some, an age yet to come, an age long past, a wind rose in the mountains of mist. The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel of time, but it was a beginning. Born below the ever-cloud-capped peaks that gave the mountains their name, the wind blew east out across the sand hills, once the shore of a great ocean before the breaking of the world. Down it flailed into the two rivers, into the tangled forest called the Westwood, and beat at two men walking with a cart and horse down the rock-strewn track called the Quarry Road. For all that spring should have come a good month since, the wind carried an icy chill as if it would rather bear snow. Gusts plastered Randall Thor's cloak to his back, whipped the earth-colored wool around his legs, then streamed it out behind him. He wished his coat were heavier, or that he had worn an extra shirt. Half the time when he tried to tug the cloak back around him, it caught on the quiver swinging at his hip. Trying to hold the cloak one-handed did not do much good anyway. He had his bow in the other, an arrow nocked and ready to draw.
I don't know about you folks, but I get goosebumps from that. I am not an audiobook fan at all. I don't enjoy them. I appreciate the amount of work that goes into them. I know a lot of people out there enjoy them, but for me, they go too slow, and listening to them at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times speed ruins, in my opinion, the purpose of an audiobook, which is to listen to someone else's voice, because then you're getting a chipmunk reading a book to you. But I found out why. I totally found out why. And it's not just because they're too slow, because I read incredibly quickly, but it's because it can't hold my attention. Reading holds my attention because I picture things like a movie in my head when I read, and I read very quickly, so the movie progresses at what I would consider a good speed. The audiobooks, though, listening to it, I have a hard time translating that into the same movie in my head as I did when I'm reading. The audiobook accompaniment, like you heard there with the chapter that I just showed you from The Other World, it fills in the gaps for me. It lets me pay attention. I have ADHD, so it's one of those things where sometimes I have a hard time paying attention to certain things. And this fills in the gaps and really, really helped me listen to the audiobooks. So if you're one of those people that really don't enjoy audiobooks that much, re-listen to what you just heard here on the channel, that sample chapter, and see if it piques your interest, because it might change things for you, because it certainly did for me. And it just kind of completes the entire picture and makes that movie in your head, so to speak. So I'm really excited about this. Now, Kickstarter is live right now. There's only 7 days left, and he's only got it about half funded. So I've left a link to it down below in the description box. This is something I really think that you folks should back if you can, especially if you enjoy audiobooks. And I will forever showcase things here in the channel from the fandom. So this is a labor of love made by a fan of the series. Yes, he's already done it for Lord of the Rings. He's planning on doing it for Harry Potter and a few other fantasy series out there right now. But he's doing it for the Wheel of Time right now, and he is a Wheel of Time fan. And I think the fandom, our fandom as a whole, is absolutely amazing when it comes to being creative. I have a lot of stuff here in behind me. So if we take a look, we have dioramas, we have cards, we have this map that's done by the Weekly Wheel News, so creations by Jen. We have I tons of stuff behind me. A lot of the stuff behind me, most of it actually, other than the books themselves, is fan made. So these are things that are made by the fandom for the fandom, because there's not a lot of Wheel of Time official merch out there right now, and I think in the near future, I don't think there will be. We are getting a few things in the docket. They are coming. I'm being told, and I'll cover them here in the channel 100%. But in the meantime, the fandom is really stepping up, filling in the gaps. So as a fandom, we should support other people in the fandom. I think this is an excellent, excellent thing. It's endorsed by the actual audiobook readers, Michael Kramer and Kate Reading. So you can't get much better than that. So if you have the means, I know not everybody does, but if you have the means and the ability, please support the Kickstarter. And if you don't, then share it around. Tell some people that maybe do like audiobooks, that do enjoy the Wheel of Time. Maybe perhaps we can help him reach his goal in the next 7 days. All right. All of that being said, please, again, down below in the description, down below in the comments, please let me know what you folks think of the new YouTube video design. Do you like this? Do you prefer my old kind of slideshow next to my head where it's all kind of blocked out with the big purple background? I kept a little bit of the purple background you can see here on the sides, but I did away with most of that. Do you like that better, or do you like this better? Do you find this looks a little bit cleaner and neater? I don't know. You folks let me know. I'm here to make videos for you guys. So if you like it, I will continue to do it this way. If you like it the old way, I'll go back to the old way. So anyway, thank you so very much for sticking with us here to the very end. Here's to many more.